Okay, YouTube, here we go. This is my final call for this video. Otherwise, I'm going to use my laptop. I wanted to try and see if I can find a different camera that would give you a little more detail on the projects. Hopefully, this will work. I've tried it on my camera, and I'm just inexperienced. I need to figure this stuff out. So, here we go. This video is going to be a little longer than my last few. I'm going to do whips, finishes, new starts, haul. So it's got a lot in it. So starting with my whips. This is my first whip, White Dragon from Heaven and Earth Designs. And Heaven and Earth Designs now has a mini White Dragon for anyone who's interested in doing this design, just not doing the full version. The full version has 136,000+ stitches. I do not know what the mini has. So I think minis tend to have between 50 and 80,000, depending on the size of the design. So I could be wrong. I'll have to look that up. Here's where I'm at on him. Let me move this over. Starting to see part of the dragon's body and a lot of the background. The background's black and this blue. And that is right this part of the dragon. My goal for this round in my rotation is page 1. Which I think comes out to here. I'm not sure. It might, maybe not that far out, but page 1 is what I want to have done before I put him away for another rotation. My son, who I'm making this for, is 8, so I want to have it done before his high school graduation, so I have a little time. This is for the Mirabilia Stitch-Along, Venetian Opulence. And here's where I'm at with her. I've been able to fill in more of the purples, pinks, reds. Been able to add the greens and the blues. So this open space here has metallics and beads. And this is all beads, beads. This is an open part of the design. And so my goal, this next time she's in my rotation, she'll be after the White Dragon. I want to finish filling in this green-blue area. That's my goal before I put her back in my whip pile. My third whip is this one, Burst Sampler for my son. I tried to find a picture, but I couldn't find one. I think this is where I was at. And where I'm at now. I really like the heart hanger. So we have the mom heart, the dad heart, and the baby heart. These are woven bars, and these are woven divided bars with dove's eyes in them, using DMC pearl cotton. The cluster blocks are all done with Trebizond silk. Really like that Trebizond silk. If you're going to use it, I would highly recommend that you use shorter lengths. I usually like 18 to 24 inch lengths to stitch with. Thinking of DMC, it will start fraying on you. You only use one strand, but the shorter end off your needle will start fraying, and you'll end up having to cut that off. And if you use shorter lengths, it has less time to fray, so you won't feel like you're cutting off a lot of it. I changed this. It's for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, Jeremiah 29:8, or excuse me, 29:11. This is Overeswa silk. It's teal color. Instead of using just one strand like the pattern called for, patterns often do that so you get the detail of the lettering. I've done enough burst samplers to know that you can lose the ability to read what you wrote if you only use one strand. So I chose to use 2 strands, and I think it looks fine. And here's personalization. It's also in the same color, and I also used 2 strands there. The Rhodes Butterfly stitch is still my favorite stitch in this entire design. Although, this band up here, this eyelet band, has Algerian eyelets up here, half Algerian eyelets on the bottom, and then Krennic in between. That's my close second. And then there's the satin braid or satin rope. It's a satin stitch. It's done with a Trebizond. And the satin stitch it's where you come up and down that gives you this shape, this rope shape. The diagram is very clear on that. And then there's some more Trebizond silk here with large cross stitches, and there's a triangular stitch. So the only thing I have left is this area, and that is the silk ribbon embroidery. Here's the pattern. So I just have this area left. And some beads. I didn't put any beads on it because I have it in a scroll frame. I'll do the beads last. I will say, this is from the Victoria Sampler. This company is now on my I want to look at more of their patterns and stitch them list. I really loved their patterns. They have a nice diagram, and they number each band. They have a little paragraph about each band, exactly what fiber used, exactly what stitch, very clear stitch diagrams, even just their little bits of encouragement and advice throughout the design. I thought very, very nice. This pattern came with an optional smaller design, but I chose the large one for my son. So my goal is to have this done next month, so I might have a finish. Speaking of which, I do have a finish. This is my daughter's graduation. Sorry, I'm trying to get it so I can show it off. The graduation goals. Stoney Creek Magazine, spring 2011. And it's not fully finished, but I have all the components here now. So I want to just give you a feel what it's going to look like. The personalization originally called for 4 lines of stitching. I chose to change that to 3 lines. So I have her full name, and then I have Bachelor of Science, which she'll receive this year, and homeschool. She graduated her homeschool in 2011. I had to laugh because I had to restitch that line because I misspelled homeschool. Yay, Mom. And then I originally wrote Bachelor of Arts, but she corrected me as Bachelor of Science, so I restitched it. Plus I had messed up the spacing, going from 4 lines to 3 lines. The spacing was a little wonky, so now I like the spacing where it's at. The original design called for stars, but I found these cute little pewter hearts at Michael's, these little beads. So you might think of that if you want to embellish your projects. Check out the bead section at Michael's or Joann's. I don't have a Hobby Lobby near me, but I know they have a bead section there. You might find something that'll work really great. Also, for some reason, so I did the graduate over here, and then I went up here. I thought, oh, I'll do the tree. For some reason, I didn't find this till I had the whole tree done. I decided to add a few extra stitches up here. Don't know why. So my tree is over this way a little bit, so it's a truly customized project. But the lettering, it's designed to have the zigzagged look. And I only had to adjust, I think, this line here, and maybe one other one. But it looks fine. Nobody'd ever know. This frame I got at Michael's, and they're open stock, kind of way in that back dark corner. I don't know what it priced originally, but I got it for $10, and I think I had an additional percentage off coupon. And it's a pretty hefty frame. It's 11 by 14 frame, and it really picks up these hearts. And then this mat matches the teal here. I originally thought I'd get a green mat, but there's a lot of green in this project. There's green here, all through the tree, and this border. I just thought it would be too much. So this teal really works, and it's one of my daughter's favorite colors too. Because of the space here on the sides, we haven't quite decided that we would put her homeschool tassel and then her college tassel here. I'm not planning on putting glass on this project. I know that could be controversial to some people, but some of my projects have glass and some of them don't, and they look fine. The key with glass, if you're going to use glass in your project and you're framing it yourself, which you definitely can do, because I'm going to do this, do not have the glass touch your fabric or your stitching. Because over time, any moisture between the glass and the fabric, or whatever you use to clean the glass, or even just dust, can actually change the color of your fabric and your fibers, and it will damage your project, especially if you have hand-dyed fabric like this one, or hand-dyed flosses like this one is. Those are most susceptible. There's a YouTube video on a gentleman who's framing a piece, and he's doing a great job. I used to frame, so it was good to watch his video to remind myself, oh, I need to do that and that and that. He got to the last point, and then he put the glass right on the fabric. And the fabric was damp. And I just wanted to scream, what are you doing? That moisture will damage that stitching over time. Also, keep your finished projects out of direct sun. If at all possible, keep them out of direct sun. A minute here and a minute there is one thing, but keep them out of direct sun. Indirect is okay, but direct sun will change your project over time. Even with museum glass, to be honest, I know museum glass is not supposed to do that, but you don't want your project in direct sun. If you want to know about framing your own, yes, I've done my own framing. I'm not going to do any tutorials because Tara has done a wonderful job on her tutorials, so watch her tutorials. Tara C. And look up her tutorial. She's done a wonderful job, and that will really help you have the courage to frame your own. My second finish is for the Crossstitch It's Fun Sal, and this is Snow Sampler. The fabric is 32 count. It's a Picture This Plus Lugana. It's hand-dyed. It's called Gingerbread, and this is cute. It's a very basic design. I originally thought, oh, I'll bling it up here and there, and as I was stitching, I thought that the basic design, the basic colors just add so much charm to this project. The only special fiber is this green, which is baby spinach. It's a sampler thread. And that was the last color I added. But I must tell you, when I started up here adding it, and then I just kind of went each block that needed it type of thing. It livened up this project so much. I just love how it brought this whole project really to life. The only... and it's a variegated, so here in this snowflake, it goes from a very light green, that might be hard to see, to dark. And with variegated like that, you finish each stitch before you go on to the next X, rather than having a row like this where you do half the X and then turn around and go. You'll lose the variegation if you do that. And on the snowman and the birds, they were supposed to be French knots for their eyes. I do not like French knots, so I just did a regular cross-stitched X, and it looks great. My only issue with this is the house. Because of the color fabric I chose, the house kind of just disappears. I'm thinking I might pull that and put a different color in there, just so it stands out more. My house is gray, maybe I'll put a gray in there. The original design sample on the pattern is done on a gray silver linen, so... and then the brown really stands out fabulous against that gray, so maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But it's done. Yay. It's a quick stitch. Cottage Needleworks is the company. And they are also on my must stitch another one of their patterns again on that list. Their patterns are so nice on the eyes. Easy to read. I just loved their pattern. So I keep haunting their website trying to figure out what I want to do. While I was doing that one, I would have had that one done faster, but I started this one. And if you know anything about comic books or cartoons, yes, we're talking the lanterns here. This is the 9 lantern core, and you have black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, and white. And this is death, rage, avarice, fear, willpower, hope, compassion, love, and life. That's how the rings are powered by these emotions. And the words down here originally were supposed to be done in black, but because I chose the navy 14 count background, I chose to do the words in white so you can see them. And I'll let you look. This is Hal Jordan as a Black Lantern. Apparently that's part of the story. I don't remember his name, but this is Sinestro. Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern, and these characters, they all have names, but I'm afraid. And this is Hal Jordan as the White. I'm sure my boys could tell you. This is going to go in my younger boy's bedroom, My 5-year-old has been, when I was stitching this, I was kind of going back and forth between this and the snow sampler. Mom, which one are you working on? Mom, which one are you working on? Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? So I thought, okay, I got to get this one done, or he's going to drive me nuts. And of course now, when are you going to get it framed? You got to get it framed, Mom. When are you going to get it framed? So that's going to be the next framing project. So I just got this navy at Joann's, Navy Ada, and it worked really well. The pattern is from a store on Etsy called Amazing Crossstitch, and I'll put their information in the description below. And I think it turned out really great. It was a pretty quick stitch. I stitched all the backgrounds, and then I went back and because like this flesh tone it's in this box, this character, this character, this character, and this character. So then I just finished the color throughout the entire project. And that's my other finish. And I have some starts. When I purchased that design, the lantern core design, I did purchase another pattern. See if I can pull it up on my phone. Yep, there it is. Whoops. Just give it in there. And it is the Hobbits with Gandalf. And here's where I'm at. I just started him a couple days ago. This will go in my older boy's bedroom. And I don't really have a time frame on this one. But I got it from the same store, Amazing Crossstitch at Etsy. And my boys really like it. They look forward to having it. When I was done with the graduation sampler, wasn't sure what I was going to stitch again. You know, what should be my, in that part of my rotation. And so I thought, well, I have 3 daughters, and so I chose a pattern for each of them. And I'm calling it Girls Week, and this is the pattern for my youngest. It's a kit. It's called Birdcage Elegance. I'm going to make some changes, though. On her dress here, where these white lines are, it calls for DMC, off-white. I'm going to put beads there. I don't know if it's going to need regular seed beads or petites, but that's what I'm going to do there. Here is a metallic. The metallic, I stitched this little area. The metallic that's included in the kit is not hard to use. It doesn't kink or fray or break, but I don't like the coverage. Here is where I'm at. Here's where that metallic is. I don't like the coverage. Now this is the original cloth that came with it, which is 14 count Aida. If I redid it, I probably should have done it on 28 count. But I don't like how the metallic covers. So I'm going to swap that out. I'll rip those stitches out, and I will swap it out with a Krennic or a Petite Treasure braid. I also don't normally grid my projects, but because of the shape of this project, how she kind of arches her back and the skirt and everything, I did some gridding. So I gridded the vertical middle, the horizontal middle, and then enough where I could get a good start. I went up to her head, and this here's where her arm will come in, and then the skirt will go down. So I did some gridding, not a huge amount, but that's for my youngest daughter. And for my next daughter, it's Mirabilia Sleeping Princess. I originally thought I would do this on Yorkshire flower fabric. It's white with yellow Yorkshire flowers painted on it. But when I started stitching it, it seemed wrong. Something about it seemed wrong. So I did a count. I did a thread count. And it's marked 32 count. But the actual fiber, it's actually 30 count. And on this pattern, because it's so full, I mean, if she was a woman kind of, you know, with an arch like this, then the Yorkshire flower would have been just fine. I need this to be 32 count for the size of fabric that I have. So I went into my stash, and I had this fabric, and it's a mushroom. It's a 32 count mushroom. Is it Jobelin? No, it's a Lugana. And here is where I'm at on her. So that is this part of the pattern going this way. So my goal for this next month is to finish one of these mattresses, because she's laying on all these different mattresses. So finish one of them. So she'll be really, really pretty when she's done. For my oldest daughter, I'm going to do Cassiopeia by Mirabilia. I started her on the twilight blue linen that it calls for, but I thought, I wonder if somebody's done this on other linen. And I found this website, and I'm not going to pronounce it. I will put it in the description. But it has, essentially, there's 2 columns on this website. So you go in a designer, Mirabilia is one of the designers, Lavender and Lace, some Joan Elliott, some Alessandra Adelaide. And you pick a pattern, and then on this side it has a bunch of companies that you can get hand-dyed fabric from, including Hand Dyed by Stephanie, Under the Sea Fabrics, Pole Stitches, and Picture This Plus. And it will superimpose your pattern on a sample of their various colors that they have standard in their stock. It'll give you a good idea if your pattern will work on a particular color or hand-dyed. It's not going to be exactly what it's going to look like finished, but it'll give you a good idea. So I did that with her, and I decided to put her on this. Oh, it's not coming across. Oh, there, it's more purpley. This is called Gothic. It's 32 count Lugana. And I know with Lugana that because of how it takes the dye, these color changes aren't as drastic as it can be on linen, and I wanted that for this particular project. I want the fabric and the design to complement each other and not compete. So that's what I'm going to do her on. So this next month I want to restart her with this fabric. I'm going to restart her with this fabric, with Sleeping Princess, work on one of these mattresses at least, and on her redo the metallic and then kind of stitch out her arm and her face. With these, I know myself, and this 1 month I might just want to stitch on this one, but I'm going to, on that week, have at least 100 stitches on each pattern. But the reality is I might want to stitch on her for 3 days, and her on 1, and her on 2, or something like that. So these have no deadline. So I'll just see. And then there's a point in every project where that is the only project I want to stitch on. Yeah, I'll hit that point in these patterns too. So that's my Girls Week. And those are my new starts. And then my haul, which is over here. I start with some needle minders I'm going to make for myself. I got these at Joann's in their bead section. I thought they'd be really pretty. And this one was damaged. There's supposed to be a loop up here, but with a needle minder I don't need the loop, so 99 cents worked for me. And here. And then I'm going to use this Gorilla Super Glue instead of the E6000. Hopefully that won't stink as bad. That E6000 really does stink a lot. Well, I also went to Stitchville. They had kind of a little trunk show sale, and I just picked up some Krennics and some needles. Nothing really huge. But you guys have been talking about Mo's sales and Mo's silks and Mo's cottons. I broke down and bought some silks. So, let me see. I have Vamo, which is this green, lime green to light green. I have Nokomis, which is this white with a little hint of gray. Englewood, this burgundy. Rue, which is purple. And Haymitch, which is this dark gray color. It's interesting because these two are actually more blue, and these are darker gray. So I have those. And I also went to Marshall's. Yeah, I know Marshall's is not a cross-stitch store. It's kind of a department type of store. They had these bags. It was a set of 7. I'm not sure where the other 2 are. They're all different size bags. And, oh, there's another one. So there I have 6 of them. I thought, oh, I'll use these for cross-stitching because I love having my project in a bag like this. These are tear-proof, waterproof, The brand name is Travelon. And with these little ones, when I have a project that has a specialty fiber, I'll often throw that in one of these and then throw this into a bigger package. So that works really well. So I think I might have to stop this for just a minute. Hold on.